I guess along that process, was your emotional intelligence at a good level, or did you feel like every experience you got a little bit more understanding of this is what this person needs to hear in this moment?
But I think there's a difference between emotional intelligence and emotional stability. Right. As a young coach, I was emotionally intelligent. Like I knew what you wanted to hear, but I wasn't emotionally stable. A space that I've got a lot better over the last couple of years. And frankly, it come from feedback from my bosses like, Dan, you could be really, really good, but I need you to be more emotionally stable. Is I have become a more emotionally stable, which means I can make decisions and remove emotion from it as much as possible and kind of take it objectively. A space that I put great value on as a coach, way more than I do tactical, is the emotional intelligence. Like, what do you need? What's going on in your life? What do you need to hear? When do you need to hear it? It doesn't mean that I always get it right, but something that I find great value in is texting our women if they do something brilliant. And that could be on game day, but this year Brit played twice, right? So how can I celebrate Brit if she's only playing twice? Well, then I'll go back through the film and I find something on our Spidio camera that was brilliant because she needs to know that she's growing. She just doesn't have a marker on game day to measure it, right? Dee Dee's markers were obvious because her saves made it onto Twitter and she'd win Save of the Week. I still have an obligation to highlight that. Maya's markers were, there was a moment early on in the season where we'd been in the environment for 7 or 8 weeks and Kristen was staying after and taking penalties and Maya was in goal. And Kristen took 3 pens and Maya saved them all. And for Maya, that's Maya's gold medal, right? Like that's the everything. And that for me is the emotional intelligence part. Like how can I build those things in or put them in positions where they can have those wins that don't happen in front of 20,000 people. And then there's the emotional stability part for me is I can only do those things if I continue to work on my emotional stability, which for as a coach, I think is integral. As I was watching back a couple of sessions from a few days ago, there are moments in sessions that I celebrate someone's save, but there are also moments that I am like beaten down by someone not doing something that they wanted to do. And that's a space I need to get better, actually. Short story. About 2.5 months into the season, Maya, our youngest goalkeeper, said, hey, can we sit down after practice? So we sat down and she said, listen, you are so important in our sessions. You give so much energy. But when things aren't going well and you look devastated, it sucks the energy out of the session. And the three of them had basically come together and said, listen, we need to give Dan a little bit of a pep talk here. And that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. When you have a relationship with the women that you work with, that they feel comfortable, right? I was reading something about emotional safety, psychological safety. And that is psychological safety. When the group feel that they can come to you and say, this is what we need, whilst they're doing it because things aren't going well, ultimately I think they do it because they care and they feel they can. And that for me, I think underpins who I am as a coach. And there were a couple of times this year that Britt would send me a text after practice and say, hey, I love today. Today was great. Or Dee Dee in her end of year feedback, she gave me the feedback and then at the bottom there's a paragraph and it was like, listen, any success I've had this year, she won MVP for her club, right? Any success I've had this year is in large part as a result of you. So they kind of recognize they are emotionally intelligent, right? To recognize what I need. And a large part of what I love about this role is the number of people that you work with, but that it is two-way, right? Like my job is to prep you to compete, is to help you grow. And when you win on game day, I will be really happy for your successes, but they're your successes. And when you struggle on game day, I will dominate those failures for you because I've got to do a better job. And recognizing that it is two-way.